Hi, everybody. Ezra Levant here. I am back in Chatsworth, which is about 2.5 hours northwest of Toronto. I am in Amish country. And the reason I'm here is because 9 months ago, Rebel News and the Democracy Fund charity made a promise to the Amish that we would help them fight one of the most outrageous cases of government overreach I've ever seen in my life. If you don't know what the Amish are, they're a very strict religious denomination. They're Christian. They came as a sort of refugee from Central Europe. They're pacifist, and they have a belief to eschew anything modern. They don't drive cars. They don't have smartphones. They don't use electricity. They travel even in 2025 in a horse and carriage. And they keep to themselves. They're very low tech. It's a lifestyle choice that wouldn't be there for many, but for the Amish, it's their religious faith expressed every day. They get along with their neighbors. They're quiet people. They're not aggressive. They live in the countryside. They're not ostentatious. In fact, because they use animal power for their farm implements, they're financially modest people. But then the pandemic happened. And when the Amish would cross the border to the States, because there's Amish communities in the northeastern United States, in Ohio and Pennsylvania and New York, they would be asked upon their return a question that would have sounded something like this. Have you downloaded the ArriveCan app on your smartphone? Okay, these folks don't have smartphones. An app is not a word they use other than maybe does it mean an appetizer? ArriveCan is a meaningless phrase for 99% of regular Canadians. I'd be surprised if a single Amish person had heard of it. So these Amish who were crossing the border were asked this absurd question if they downloaded this government malware, this spyware that Trudeau's friends made. And of course they didn't. So unbeknownst to the Amish, every time they went through, they were fined $5,000 or $6,000. And they didn't understand what these words meant. And they would go about their life. They were exempt from the masks. And they told me that they thought this was a mask thing and they had a religious exemption. Anyways, one day they discovered that their farmhouses had a lien against them. Do you know what a lien is? It's a government encumbrance or anyone could put a lien on your property if you owe a debt. It's a way of saying, you will not be able to sell this house unless you pay us first. So if you sell this house or bequeath it or put a mortgage on it, you can't do any of those things until you pay this debt first. So dozens of Amish people, unbeknownst to themselves, had liens on their farmhouses. They didn't even know what that was. They didn't know how it got there. And they didn't know who to ask for help because one of the things about the Amish is they're very pacifist. They're non-confrontational. They do not go towards conflict. They submit to authority. But here was some punishing hand upon them. They don't even know what for or where it came from. Luckily, they had a friend who is not Amish, who follows Rebel News and the Democracy Fund. And they opened up to him. They told them the pickle they were in. And he connected us. His name was Grant. And here's a little interview I had with Grant 9 months ago. Grant is your name. Grant, thanks very much for setting up today's meeting. It's sort of difficult because we couldn't phone, we couldn't email. Even when we were running late, we really had no way to tell the Amish that we were just 10 minutes away. They really do live that old lifestyle, don't they?
They do. They walk the walk. And that's what I respect about it. It's no matter what it is, right? They follow their beliefs and their faith. And they don't stray from that at all.
So you yourself are not Amish, of course, and you have no problem using phones and cell phones. In fact, you're somewhat familiar with the Democracy Fund.
Well, I am. I found them on a Telegram, right? And I read up on it. I became familiar with what they've done so far in helping those people in BC. That's what really piqued my interest. And I didn't know that the Amish had a problem. I've had various conversations, but they found out that I dealt with customs issues commercially, and that's how that topic came up. It's a matter of trust with the Amish as well, because I've known them so well for so long that they felt comfortable asking me about that.
So you reassured them, because you've been dealing with them on a business level, you've gotten to know them personally. So it was your telephone that was used to connect Adam Blake Gallipo of the Democracy Fund
with the head of what they call their steering committee. So you were sort of the bridge between the old world and the new.
That's right. That's right.
Well, you sat in the meeting, and it's sort of funny what I'm doing here now, because normally I would show the leader of the community, and I would have him done. By the way, he looks wonderful. He sounds wonderful. It was such a heartwarming meeting, but he can't be seen on camera. That's just not their way. You heard my introduction here. Is that an accurate representation of what's been happening to the families here?
Very accurate.
And of course, Adam Blake Gallipo is dealing with the families directly. And again, I'm not exactly sure how that's being done because, fax machines, phone calls, emails. I guess you're the interlocutor. You're like the ambassador, the diplomat.
That's right. I show up. We set a date and a time, and I go to a certain place, and then we have a meeting on the phone with that Adam.
Well, Grant kept his promise to help the Amish, and so did the Democracy Fund. Over the last 9 months, Democracy Fund lawyers Mark Joseph and Adam Blake Gallipo have come out here hours and hours to meet in person with dozens of Amish, and they come in their horse and buggy. It's quite a logistical thing to set up a meeting. I mean, think about it. How would you set up a meeting in another city? You would telephone, you would use an email, you might use a Google map or Waze. How do you do that with folks who don't use electronics? So it's very logistically intensive just to get Amish people here and then to explain in layman's terms what's going on. Well, over the course of time, dozens of Amish have made the journey to the house here. And I can't show you the house, and I can't show you the leader of the Amish, who I've gotten to know a little bit over the last 9 months, because again, not only do they not use video cameras and photographs, they really believe in not appearing in cameras or videos as well. There are other Amish in the States who have less strict approaches. And of course, if you want to see what the Amish look like, as I've mentioned before, there are some outstanding movies that actually sort of do look like the Amish in real life. Harrison Ford had a great one about 25 years ago. My point is, it's very hard to tell the story when you can't show the people involved. If you think it's hard to tell the story, imagine fighting not just lawsuits, but lawsuits that have aged out. Because what happened was these Amish would get the fine. It wouldn't be brought to their attention. They're not checking their email or faxes. A lien would be put on their property. They would not be in any court hearing. They didn't even know this happened. And then 2, 3, 4 years later, trying to undo this, trying to crack open a cold case, to open up a conviction and have a rehearing again. It's astonishing to me that 9 months into it, the province of Ontario, which is the real bully here, although the ArriveCan app and the rules were designed by Justin Trudeau, it was Doug Ford and his prosecutors who had a vengeance. For some bizarre reason, they really went hard against the Amish. For 9 months, the government has shown no mercy, insisting on defending their actions. But the Democracy Fund lawyers have slowly but surely managed to open up case after case, and in many times, the fines have been withdrawn. I was talking to the head of the church, the head of their committee, as it's called, and he said that some people came to this farmhouse to sign up for help from the Democracy Fund because they had a ticket. They knew they had a ticket and they came here to get help. And when they arrived here, only then did they learn that the government had put a lien on their property. What a terrifying thing. Imagine you just going to meet a lawyer to take care of some ticket, and you find out that the government has put an encumbrance on your family farmhouse. The shock of it, the terror. And what do? Well, thankfully, the Democracy Fund is there to help. Stay with me in a moment. We'll talk to Mark Joseph, one of the lawyers working for the Democracy Fund and the Amish.